Good afternoon. You're listening to the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. I'm your host, Jasmine Urbina, here in the studio today with my dad and co-host, Alex Urbina. Hi, Dad.
How are you?
Good. Today we're going to be talking about quality time. I'm assuming it's going to have to do with spending quality time with your teen and talking a little bit about how to get there, because I think the teenage years and the is a hard time to capture their attention enough for them to want to stay home and spend time with their parents.
Yeah, I think it's a great conversation to have regarding, what kind of time am I having with my kids? Is it, what should I be focused on? Is it the quality or the quantity? I think it should be both. When I first started doing this work, I thought that quality time was what we should really be focused on, but I feel like we can live in the illusion that if I'm spending a little bit of time with my kids and I think it's quality, it might not be the kind of quality that they're looking for. So I don't want us to live in the illusion that we're giving them quality time. It should be both. It should be quantity and quality. But I really want to today focus on what is quality time. What does that mean to you? Because what quality time for me might not be the same thing for you, and what quality time for you might not mean the same thing to your kids. To me, quality time is having the kind of time that you're actually connecting with somebody. And if you can learn the art form of connecting with somebody at a deeper level, then the time just becomes at a higher level of quality. So I think what kids are really looking for is for your mom and dad to spend the time that you're talking about things that are a little bit more deeper, like getting to know them more and opening up and being vulnerable and letting your kids in, letting them know about what you're afraid of, the things that scare you. Your kids want to connect with you at a whole different level, and it's really about realizing that as a parent.
I definitely know that we want to connect to our parents, but there's also that age that I was talking about in the teenage years where we want to hang out with our friends and we want to go out and go to school events and do everything that's away from mom and dad. So there's still times though where I remember being a teenager and wanting that connection with my parents, but I had probably spent either too much time away from them or not enough of our time spent together was quality. It was more like us sitting next to each other on Facebook or something, that it was more, I found it more challenging to get to that place as the teenager. And I remember there would be times where either you or my mom would say, you know what, everyone put your phones down, we're going to watch a movie together. And then if we would pull our phone out, you would pause the movie and be like, are you serious? And I remember those certain situations where that was like kind of you forcing that quality time on us, but also at the same time, it was kind of something that when you get reconnected, you realize you needed, especially as a teenager.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like, I'll give you an example. Your brother is very busy kind of chasing his dreams, and we invited him to be a part of one of the young adult groups that we're talking to, and it was an empowerment group for young adults, and he decided that he was going to plug in, and so he plugged in a couple weeks ago, and he said that he never realized how much he's been disconnected from his sisters, meaning you and your sister. And, he got vulnerable and he broke down a little bit, and he realized that he's been disconnected. But when you're not connected and creating quality time, you don't realize how important it is and how valuable it is until either you stop or somebody forces you to stop and invites you back into creating a very powerful moment where you're connecting deeply. And so I think that that's a very powerful perspective to have, is every once in a while as a parent, I should be the one that declares, hey, let's do a family night. Hey, let's have Thursday night be a dinner night where we all sit down and we talk and we really connect. And so I like that you pointed out that the kids aren't necessarily going to have the courage to be able to say, hey, mom, hey, dad, I want to share with you guys deeply. It's just, that doesn't happen. Parents barely even know how to be mindful of that, or even to see the value of it and have it in the forefront of your mind. But I think that's what kids are deeply yearning for, because I hear their cries in a training room, and that's what they're saying is, I want to have a better relationship with my parents. And then when I ask them, what do you mean by a better relationship? They normally stop for a moment, they think, and they'll say, I want to be able to have conversations that are meaningful. I want them to hear what I'm saying, rather than when I'm talking, they're checked out or they're worried about bills or they're on their phone or whatever it is. I want them to be present. And this is kind of the golden nuggets that I give in the book, The Inspirational Parent, is what are the kids talking about in the training room when they get vulnerable? What are the things that they want? What are their desires? What are they yearning for from their parents? And one of those things is quality time.
Yeah, and I want to kind of jump over to the parents side real quick, and I can see how either feeling like you're forcing that quality time onto your kids might seem like, oh, I don't want to force them to be with me. I don't want to force them to want to hang out with me. And I don't really think it necessarily has to look like that in a way. It's more like I feel like teens, they'll freak out if they already had plans and you are like, you know what, I'm moving in, I'm pulling my trump card, you have to stay tonight and you have to spend time with your family. Setting up a time ahead of time, say, hey, I know you are busy. Do you think next Friday or Saturday you could stay home and me and your mom have plans with your siblings? And, setting it up is a lot better. So I think parents, they say, I try to spend time with them, and then they're, angry the whole time, or they're mad and they leave anyways. And I think it's because you're not setting yourself up to win as parents. Because I remember times where that would happen to me and I'd be sitting there like, I can't believe they pulled this out right now when they could have told me ahead of time. Or I could just see there's different ways to win where parents aren't really setting it up that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely has to be an invitation. But you have to be, as a parent, you really have to be mindful of, hey, when was the last time we really sat down and had deep, meaningful conversations and really just laughed? Or when was the last time we all, were together and we laughed so hysterically that we got the giggles? And, those are bonding moments. Those are golden moments that your kids will take with them forever into their adult life, as well as them being a parent. They're going to remember those moments that you co-created with them in your living room, or, sitting around the TV watching a movie, or even at dinner. And this is another topic I really want to talk about, is the dinners. Because I got in a conversation with a good friend of mine who were talking about how dinners is like a lost art. And families,
not for us.
well, that's because I really love dinners, because dinners is a special moment to be able to get everybody together. We're doing something in common. And it's a great opportunity to open up discussions, and it's a great opportunity to check in with each other and be playful and look at each other in the eyes. And just I don't know what it is about dinners, but for me, dinners are special. For some people, they maybe never had that experience growing up. Maybe they had fathers or mothers that worked late, and they were used to making their own macaroni and cheese and going to their room. Maybe that's happening today in today's world with technology, and families that are just too busy. They don't see the opportunity to be able to sit down and have a dinner, or even if it's a weekly dinner. Hey, every Thursday is our dinner that we have as a family, and we get to catch up and we get to share and laugh and love each other. And you'll see it quite often in families that are religious or spiritual. They have their family dinners, whether it's every night or 3 times a night or it's once a week. I think it's a great opportunity for us to get back together and put our technology away and just connect and be with each other.
Yeah, for me, I feel like we've established some kind of bond or expectation when we have dinner. So if we get a text from you or mom saying, "Hey, family dinner tonight, 6, be there," everyone kind of pushes all the other things out of the way to make it there, because we already have, I guess, like a strong foundation of experiencing very, I guess, very effective dinners. I don't know what word to use other than effective, where we end up just bonding and
I think the word is valuable. When you have a moment with your family members and it's valuable, you're now more reluctant to, the next time you get an invitation, you'll all move stuff around to be there because it's valuable. When you're having dinners where your family is dysfunctional to where you guys can't see each other's opinions, you can't agree to disagree, you're always in argument, you're in judgment of each other, and then it starts arguments, and then that's not going to be valuable. So you have to make the experience valuable such that the next time you ask for it or invite, people see the value of it. They remember the last time, and they remember how awesome it felt to connect with each other, and then they rise to the occasion, and they move it around their schedule to make sure that they're there. But I think that, if it's not dinners, make it something. create some kind of tradition that you and your family get together and do something like a game night or a movie night. Or maybe it's something that you do individually with your sons and your daughters where you say, hey, let's go take a walk. Every Monday night, you and I are going to go for a 10-minute walk, and we just walk around the block. Or maybe you make it around your pets. Let's walk our pets every Thursday night, and everyone grabs a leash, and you put it on your dogs, and you go for a walk. We got to create something, because I feel like technology in today's world is growing so fast that it's becoming now a distraction from us to connect and remember how to practice the art of relating with each other and being with each other.
Yeah, I think it's funny how after we could be separated all the time, like I never see my sister or my brother or anything, but when we all get together, especially around family dinner or vacation or whatever, we all get together, there seems to be this natural bond that just comes back. It's almost like, oh, I haven't seen you in a couple of months, but it's like my heart or my body or whatever doesn't know that, or it's very interesting how we've created in that quality time and in those valuable dinners, we've created a bond that is like, it sounds cheesy, but it's forever, even though we're far away, or even though I haven't seen that person in a long time. And I really think that for us, because we did those family dinners, or that's the thing that you guys chose for us, I think that those are the things that made of definitely me and my siblings a lot stronger.
One of the things that I learned, it was a very powerful distinction when I was younger, my early 20s. It was the distinction called power source. And I'm going to try to explain it to you right now. You got to look at your life and go, what's the power source that really feeds my family and feeds me and feeds my soul? And when I learned what a power source was, it really opened my eyes to remember how valuable it is to plug back into your power source. Some people say God is my power source, or the universe, or whatever it is that's a higher power. For me, it's my power source. But below that power source, there's another power source. And what is that? Is it the head of our family? Is it our family unit? Where do I need to go to plug back in when I take a couple shots, or a couple gut shots from life? Where do I go to heal? Where do I go to remember who I am? Where do I go back to get fueled back up with love and validation? Most of the time, it's through your family. So families that are disconnected, or you have kids that are off to college, or kids that are out chasing their dreams, and I'm taking these powerful blows that life throws at us, because that's the way life is. It's challenging. Where do I go to plug back in to get my pep talk? Where do I go to plug back in to remember what I'm made of and all those good things? And 9 times out of 10, it's your family. So your family is your power source. And that's why at Thanksgiving time, kids that are all across the country at different colleges, they get their flights to fly back home to plug back in with their family to have that amazing dinner. Or maybe it's Christmas, or maybe it's New Year's. During the holidays, we get back in to get refueled back up. Those are our power source. And that's important for us to have, not just once a year, but we should be doing it whether it's once a month, once a week, 3 times a week. We got to create this space for us to go back to the power source, and we got to plug back in.
Yeah, and I really like that you said that, and it kind of just takes me to think about parents, how important it is for parents to make sure that that's what your family is, or to make sure that you're driving that. So if you want your son to come home for Thanksgiving and he says, you know what, I can't make it, maybe you need to give him a pep talk and remind him why it's important to be there. Or, there's certain things that I think parents are really quick to, especially when their kids get older, they're really quick to say, oh, okay, fine. And then when they get off the phone, they're all upset. I can't believe he's not coming to Christmas dinner. I can't believe this and that. And sometimes it just takes communicating and being vulnerable and saying, I really need you to be here. I haven't seen you in a long time. It would mean a lot to me and your mother. And, and I feel like parents just...
Or I miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Yeah. I mean, if we're really going to cut it down, let's get down to, if you're going to be vulnerable, let's get down to the nitty gritty and just say, hey, you're missed. Hey, I need to see your smile. Hey, I wanna laugh with you. I want to take a walk with you. I want to hold your hand and watch a movie. We got to do that, because that's part of healing. That's part of giving that's the soul food that we need for our spirit so that we can go back into the world and put our shields up and start to battle through life again, going after our dreams and chasing our passions. We have to learn how to plug back in. And as a parent, it's imperative for you to see the value of that, to start to say, you know what, I want that. Or I want that for my kids. Or if I've never had it, I need to figure out how to create it or start one or start a tradition. But I think dinners is where it's at. It's a good starting point to say, you know what, I'm going to be the first person in my family to start inviting everyone to create a Monday night dinner for our family. And that's going to be our tradition. And I think that's going to, be an opportunity and a platform to get everybody back together around a table where you're connecting and you're reminding yourself the joys of life. The purpose of life, it's to share my happiness with somebody. Because if you're out there on your own and you're having all these powerful breakthroughs and you're having all the success, or even through your struggles, what's the point if you have nobody to share it with? So I think that's the golden gems of life, is to share your life with somebody.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to bring down the mood or make it, sad or anything, but just the show before us was talking about a mother who lost her son to drug addiction, and it just like that, it could be gone. Just like that, you can move on and not have that person to share those moments with. And I know in our family, we really try to get together, even with our extended family. We really try to be together, and there's a lot of times where one person could be missing from that dinner or that birthday party or baby shower, and everyone's asking about them. And that's what I love about our family, is we never, we don't forget about that person. We keep wanting them to come. And I remember when I would, be off at school or with my friends or whatever, and I wouldn't go to something, someone would ask me like, how come I didn't go? And that made me feel missed. It made me feel wanted. And so even things like that, when my cousins are missing from something, I reach out to them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're not here. You missed it. We missed you. You keep extending that, because one day they might not be there because they, are gone.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we get back to talking about the subject about quality versus quantity, and if you're just joining us, we're having this discussion about quality time. We're talking about family time, and we're trying to decipher the distinction between what's quality time versus quantity time. Quality time is basically going to be open to the interpretation of every different person, because we all have the ability to make our own reality. So what quality time for me might not be quality time for you, but in a nutshell, for me, quality time is how deep of a connection can I create with somebody with the amount of time I have given. So I might only have 45 minutes with you. So I need to be mindful of, who do I get to be in this 45 minutes such that I'm able to create a powerful bonding moment with my daughter. And in that 45 minutes, I get to be in a discovery phase. I get to be excited about what you're up to. I get to be interested in you. I get to be interested in what your life is about, and what your thoughts are and what your fears are. And so I get to be in a way with you that I'm interested, and I get to ask open-ended questions such that it creates a safe space for you to trust me enough to share those things. Because again, the value of life is having somebody to share your ups and downs with, and that's what quality time is. Because we can sit there for an hour eating sushi, and you're on your phone and I'm on my phone, or we're both zoning off into space, or watching something on TV, and we're eating our meal and we're just disconnected. So for me, quality time is being connected, and then the next level is being connected at a deeper level.
Yeah, and I definitely can see, I know for you, it always comes back to food and breaking bread and being around a table. And that's probably because in our experience, that's kind of where we are and how we, how we function, I guess. But I know that there's times too where you can be doing anything. You could be doing the thing that makes you the most happy with somebody else and still, I guess, be disconnected. And for me, I just wanted to share an experience that I guess I would say my sister is the person that is like the power source in our family, like for everybody. Like when she's missing, it's like, oh, where is she? Like she just has this energy that's like that that power source. And
That's
sometimes
because she's sunshine.
yeah.
Every family has a member that's the sunshine, right?
Yeah. And for me, I can go out and do things with her, go to lunch and go to movies or hang out and be disconnected and miss that opportunity. So sometimes it's right there in front of you, and your power source or your quality time is right there. And like, I'm getting kind of emotional because I'm taking advantage of that. I'm not making it quality time, or sometimes I'm unconscious and it already is quality time on its own and I don't realize it. But I can tell myself that there's times where I let those opportunities go to pass by not engaging or not getting there on a deeper level.
And then before we go on a break, I want to talk about the possibility that when we get together with our loved ones, don't be looking at the other person to create the quality time. Sometimes I'm in the way. Sometimes I can be the roadblock that's stopping both of us from getting to the next level and going deeper. And all that takes is the awareness and the mindfulness of yourself not being willing to be vulnerable enough, not to bring your walls down and allow the other person to come in. Sometimes in a conversation or in a connection, it just takes one person to be willing to bring their wall down or open up the gate to the next level to allow somebody in. Being connected is allowing somebody to see inside of you. It's revealing yourself. And a lot of us aren't good at that. And that's the conversation I want to talk about today is, and ask you the question is, when you're sitting down together with the people you love the most, are you at the most vulnerable level of revealing who you are? Letting them know your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, letting them know what you're up to, your goals. Where do you stop? Or where do you let people come into the deepest level of your spirit?
Well, I think for some people, quality time or being connected is natural with certain people, and sometimes it's not. I think for a lot of people, like to connect with your teen when you're already an adult and your teen is going through their teenage stuff, it feels impossible to connect with them. It's not. It's just a lot of work, and I think parents will give up really easily because their teens give up easily because their teens are I'm not going to connect with my mom. I have other things to do. And I don't want to say it's your responsibility, but if you can consider it maybe your responsibility I'll say
it for you. Mom, Dad, it is your responsibility because your kids don't know any better. They've never been taught that. They're not that evolved. So you have to take it as your responsibility to create quality time with your kids.
Yeah, and I also think that there's a lot of teens out there that they want it, but they don't really know that they want it. So once it keeps popping up, then they'll start noticing opportunities to take it. So maybe the first 16 they'll miss, but maybe number 17 they'll finally catch on.
Sounds good.
We have to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more of the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Mission Valley Bank puts the community in community banking. They strive to be your most trusted bank. Mission Valley Bank is happy to sponsor KHTS Holiday Music. Happy holidays!
KHTS Holiday Music also brought to you by Chiquita Canyon.
From all of us at Chiquita Canyon, we'd like to wish you and your family a happy, prosperous holiday season. This year, Chiquita Canyon is proud to sponsor holiday music on your local hometown station, KHTS. Happy holidays.
Stone Oven, the healthy alternative. You've never tasted a sandwich like this before. Gourmet bread cooked before your eyes. Stone Oven at the food court at Valencia Town Center.
Save at the best Santa Clarita restaurants. Restaurant Row, where everything is half price. Click on hometownstation.com and discover incredible savings. Online or at our radio station, everyone saves with Restaurant Row. Check it out at hometownstation.com. Restaurant Row, where everything is half price.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Do you like to rock across Africa?
Then the wait is over.
Africa Rocks! Africa's Greatest Hits is now available at the San Diego Zoo! And who could forget 99 red baboons?
Or the African crested porcupine smash hit, I Got Quills to Pay the Bills. Hey, don't get too close.
And the hits keep on coming.
Africa Rocks has all your favorites from 6 different African habitats.
Hungry like a leopard.
Ibex is back.
Harder, better, Fossa stronger.
And a new track from Kendrick Lamar.
Now, Larry.
Yes, Chuck?
A collection of this magnitude, I'd fly to Africa.
Well, don't pack your bags, friend. Africa Rocks is only available right here at the San Diego Zoo.
Wow, that really does rock.
No, it Africa Rocks.
Welcome to Africa Rocks. Experience 6 different African habitats, including our first ever aquatic enclosure with African penguins. Only at the San Diego Zoo.
It's time to put the pedal to the metal. I'm Alan Taylor, host of The Drive, your source for all things auto. Broadcasting from the Peterson Automotive Museum every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on KHTS. Brought to you by your friends at Galpin Motors.
Hey Dodgers fans, check out the KHTS website at hometownstation.com. Get the latest news and sports happenings in our Santa Clarita Valley. Find out more about KHTS shows and our on-air features, plus receive incredible discounts with our Restaurant Row certificates. That's hometownstation.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Today we are talking about quality time, and on the break we kind of got into the conversation about living at home with your parents. And one of the things that Andrew, our producer, shared was that sometimes he feels bad that his family wants to spend quality time, but the things that they're doing, he's not interested in doing, so he feels bad for checking out. And I can kind of identify with that, but I'm going to let you go ahead and...
Yeah, that was just it. It's my parents, they're old enough where, and we're in that family bonding where they do say, hey, what's wrong, and ask me what's wrong and things like that. And we're open, but it's, nothing's wrong. It's I want to spend time with you, but it's at dinner. I don't want to eat dinner on your schedule. I'm just not hungry right now. They're like, why don't you eat dinner with us? It's not that I don't want to eat dinner with you. It's I don't want to eat right now.
Yeah.
It's, why don't you spend time with us watching this TV show? I just don't like that TV show and I want to watch something else. So I go to my room.
And I can really identify with that because I know that my dad does this all the time, or my mom and my dad will come to my room and be like, hey, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm doing some really important stuff in here.
Yeah. What's funny because I learned early on that you're very particular with your movies. So for me, it's like, all right, let's find a common movie that we can all watch that we like, and we sit down and we bond. So I think maybe when you were like 15 or 16, maybe when you were 14 or 15, I would say, let's watch a movie, and you're like, all right, and you would just roll with it. But once you started to kind of like what you like and don't like what you don't like, I remember at a time I would say, hey, we're going to watch a movie tonight, or, Saturday night, you're going to watch a movie with us? And you would go, what movie? And that's when I started realizing that, I have to either be more creative or try to find, give and take. I got to find something that you like such that you can plug in with us and those kinds of things, or decide, okay, movie night is not going to be with you. I'm going to have to find something else that you like that I can try to plug into. And it's a great point with you is, as parents, your kids aren't going to take every invitation because they're not going to be interested in that. So maybe you might, as a parent, a mom or a dad, have to decide, hey, son, what are you up to that I can plug in with you? And be willing to try to see if you can plug in, as long as it's not something that it's that you guys are doing that. It's like, come on, I don't want my dad hanging around with me while I'm going to the gym, or, you know what I'm saying? But find something in common, because I'm sure there's something there that you would love to hang out with your dad and do, or there's something that only you and your mom can do that if you found that common ground, it would be something you'd be up to.
Yeah, well, for me, one thing I want to kind of point out is that we say this all the time, don't take it personal, like for the parents, but there's some things that if you're watching an action war movie, that I have better things to do. If you're watching a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, I'm there. So for me, it's very I am particular about my time, I guess. I want to spend my time. I've got a lot of things going on, and I'll make room for my family. I'll make room for those things if there's something that I'm interested in. Now, there's also parents who, they're like, I do everything for you, right? They do stuff when we're younger. They go to our t-ball games and, our ballet recitals or whatever. They go to all those things, and then when we get older, we don't reciprocate that back. You know, we don't go to all their events, and we don't go all the things that we invite them to, that they invite us to. And I think that's one thing that us as teenagers, or, you know, for me and Andrew being young adults, that's one thing we could probably be a little bit more mindful of, like going to the things that we don't want to go to and thinking about the times our parents didn't want to go sit there and watch us.
That's a good point. Did you take that note, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll take that note.
All the times your dad had to go to your baseball games and sit through all that stuff, right?
Drive everywhere.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to be in traffic.
Of course. But he did it because, you know, he loves you, and he wanted for you to have a life and connect with other kids and you know, be able to, you know, socialize with other people. And now, you know, I'm sure that they want their little moment of, hey, let's connect, let's go do something. Or so I love that you said that, because it's very takes a very high awareness for you as either a teenager or a young adult to remember that your parents are yearning to connect with you too. And maybe it's been a long while since that's happened. One of my favorite songs when I was a young man that I heard in a training room, it's called "Cats in the Cradle." And if you ever heard the song, you know the gist of what the song is about. It's about a son who grew up always wanting to spend time with his dad, and his dad kept saying, not right now, maybe later. And the first verse is about different scenarios where the son wanted to connect with his father, and his father didn't have time. And then towards the back end of the song, the son goes off to college, and when he comes back, the dad is really excited to spend time with his young adult son, and he's like, hey, son, why don't we go and do this? And he goes, not right now, Dad. Can I have the car keys because I want to go out? And it's a very heartbreaking song because the son became just like the father, not finding time to be able to connect with the people that he says he loves the most. And then the father had to sit there and realize, wow, I co-created that kid into not finding the time to be valuable, to really spend valuable time with each other. And I remember hearing that song at the early age of maybe 24 or 25, and I told myself, I don't want to live that. I don't want to repeat that. I don't want to be that father who's sitting there wanting to spend quality time with his kids, and they're just too busy because I modeled that when they were younger. Because I didn't give them that time, then they now reciprocate that to me. So I've been really mindful in my parenting to creating that time to spend with you, such that when I become an old man and I want to plug in with you guys, that you don't kind of roll your eyes and go, oh, you know, you don't want to do this with us. So I think that's something that we really got to take a look at too.
Yeah, and I think that if you're a parent and you're in that phase right now with like your teens or your young adults, it's not too late to have that connection, you know, because I know for us, you're constantly bugging us to like do stuff with you or hang out or go to this family thing. And I have to say no to some things because I just don't have time, or I really can't, or it's not interesting to me. But then there's times where I force myself to go, and then I ask my sister and my brother to go so I won't be alone. And, you know, like there's a lot of things.
So what's a good way for us to try to convince you to come within reason? I mean, obviously, we as parents have to be mindful that you're young adults and you're out in the world seeking your own entertainment and joy, and we got to give you that space to do that. But on the things that you can waver on, how do I kind of nudge you or enroll you to come and plug into a family event or to go to dinner with us if I haven't seen you? To me, the only thing I can think of is be honest and say, hey, I really miss you. And you know, I want to connect with you. I want to plug in with you and just get down, cut to the chase, and just get right down to business and tell you honestly what's going on.
Well, I kind of said this a little bit earlier. I think that by letting us know ahead of time, instead of like dropping the bomb last minute and say, hey, we're all going to a movie tonight, as you're walking out the door to go hang out with your friend, and you're like, like you feel guilty, so you got to call your friend and say, hey, you know what, my dad invited me to the, Andrew's shaking his head, he knows. But if you ask us ahead of time, plan it out a little bit, a couple days, even a day, then that'll let me say, you know what, I have plans on Friday, but what about Sunday or Saturday? And I think that parents expect you to drop everything and then they might not necessarily guilt trip you. I might be guilt tripping myself.
That's what I was about to say. I was waiting for
the
you.
guilt trip.
Really? Really? Is there guilt trip?
I was like, okay, yeah. Give them a day in advance or a little time in advance just in case, or move things. But what you don't do is guilt trip them into saying, well, so-and-so is going to be there. It'd be really nice if you did that. because then we're gonna go and then just be mad all the time.
Yes.
Be mad at the event. Like, see, I'm here. Just be mad just to be mad because you made me come here.
Right.
Rather than entice me to come or allow me to accept the invitation.
The invitation, yeah, it's the invitation. And then what I really like too is, if I can't accept that specific day, maybe you follow up with... Be open to something else. Yeah, you follow up with, well, what about the next day? And then if I can't do that day, I'm like, dang, okay, I really got to find a day for this person because they really want to hang out.
So for me, that I'm the kind of spontaneous person. I you know how this week I said, what are you doing this weekend? You're like, I don't know yet, right? I'm like that too. I'm spontaneous. So I can just kind of roll. I just make decisions like, what do I feel like doing? I feel like watching a movie. Let's go. So for someone like me, I have to do both. I have to be willing to, while I'm having a spontaneous moment, invite you, but not be attached to you saying yes, because I got to realize you have your own life and you have your own passions and your own things that interest you, and I have to be willing to invite and expect that the last minute invitations, it's a 90% chance that you're not going to go. But as well as also practicing how to invite you to future stuff or to schedule things, and learn how to play and dance on both sides as well.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like there's a lot of times where because I'm not a spontaneous person, I'm a planner for sure. And there's times where if I have nothing going on the weekend or that day, fine. We'll do whatever you want. We'll do 5 different things. I don't care. If I have something planned for that day or later or at a certain time, my spontaneousness just goes out the window, and I'm like stressing out pretty much like the whole time. So I know that there's times where like our family will say, okay, let's go to lunch. So all morning I'm working on my stuff so that I could go to lunch. And like you guys don't, and then you guys change it and say, oh, okay, we're going to go to dinner now. We're going to change it to a different day. And I'm sitting there like, I can't believe I just did all that. And it's not necessarily your fault. It's just something that happens. And but as a planner, that frustrates me. And especially like last minute stuff. And it's only when I have stuff planned. If it's last minute, I have nothing, I'm there. I'll go
like,
see.
all right, let's go.
Yeah, I'll go see that dumb movie that you want to see.
So you guys are young adults and you have your own life and you have your own schedule. What about those parents that have teenagers that don't live like that yet, that they're kind of just on the schedule of the parents, and the parents already know ahead of time, like, girl, I know you ain't got nothing, so why don't you go with us to the movies? Well, I want you to take yourself back to when you were a teenager, when you were 14 or 15, and your parents would invite you to things. What kind of advice can you give parents that want to spend more time with their kids? What kind of advice could you give them to kind of be more successful at getting their kids to want to spend time with them?
Find out what they're excited in, not saying, hey, we're going to go to the movies, we're going to see this movie. Maybe a day before saying, hey, are you interested in going to see any movies? And then you might have to bite the bullet and see the movie they're interested in just to build that relationship just for the next time to say, hey, let's go see that movie. So then that builds up, okay, we have a thing, we're going to the movies now, where they like to go because they had a good experience because we saw that movie.
That's a great point, because knowing what your son or daughter is interested in and then inviting them to something that would interest them is a good platform to start off. Would it not be? Like, let's say you're really into Star Wars, and I know that there's, the Comic-Con going on this weekend in Anaheim, and I go, hey, I saw Comic-Con. You want to go down there? And all of a sudden, it's like your dog. You go,
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like Comic-Con. So if I can find something that you're interested in, then I can invite you to that as a starting of a platform to reconnect or create a new momentum of us spending time together.
I think the hardest thing to get your kids to go to is family events. So I want to touch up on that one because...
Why? Because they're boring or what?
They're not boring. They're very you have to say hi to everybody, and then everybody asks you the same questions, and then everybody judges your answers. And it's more like it's a whole task. It's not because they're boring. It's just... sometimes it's like, oh, I don't feel like really being judged today or going down that path, so I just don't want to go. And then other times, yeah, it's probably a little bit boring. But I know, for me, before I decide on going to an event, I'll text all my cousins and see who's going. Because if my cousins are going, then I could go hang out at the kids' table and the adults won't bother me. It's very precise and well, for me, it's I don't know if you do this, Andrew, but it's really meticulous. The right people have to be going so that I can avoid certain situations. I plan it all out instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, I guess I'll go."
Okay, so then what I'm hearing as a parent is I have to try to figure out how to enroll you into seeing the value or the interest for you to be there. So if I know about the family function, and I know I talked to my sister, and her son's going to be there, so I got to be prepared that when I invite you, I throw a couple golden jewels at you to help enroll you into seeing the value. All right, I'll go if cousin Tommy's going to be there or whatever.
Yeah, because then otherwise I have to do the work myself and go see who's going to be there. And sometimes I don't want to do that. It's easier just to say no because I know that I could be doing something else.
You know what? Maybe even create a couple of options. Like, hey, how about, if you come with us and then your aunt's going to be heading home early, you could probably catch a ride and come back home. If I gave you some options, maybe I'm going to be pretty successful by giving you 3 or 4 options rather than one, which is come with us and then stay there as long as we stay there till 2 a.m. and you're going to be bored out of your mind.
Yeah, I know that seems like a lot, but maybe that's something that as a parent you kind of just have to do until your kids get old enough to see the value in it themselves, because we see the value in sitting at home and watching TV more than going to a family event. And yeah, that's a little bit our fault, but it's also something that you can help change or help adjust.
I agree with that totally. It's you kind of have to do it, and then it'll develop from there.
How do we get you guys to see the value of going to a family function and connecting with people that you say that are important in your life, rather than sitting there in front of a TV program for 5 hours because you're on Netflix going through a whole series of programs? How do we get you to see the value of that? See, that's the part of the purpose of this conversation is quality time. I feel like quality time is not as valuable to young people than it is to the ones that remember how powerful quality time is.
Well, I have an answer, but I'm going to give it to you after the break. So stay tuned I know I'm just going to leave it like that. Stay tuned for more of the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located in Old Town Newhall, the CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go to canyontheater.org.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
The city of Santa Clarita has so much going on this year. Be on the lookout for amazing events happening throughout the year, including the Cowboy Festival, concerts in the park, Thursdays at Newhall, and the Santa Clarita Marathon. There are also a number of fun activities and things to do year-round, including outdoor recreation, hiking and bike trails, adult classes, art exhibits, youth sports programs, and more. You can even sign up to be a volunteer. Learn more at santa-clarita.com.
Experience the spirit of giving and the thrill of savings at the Outlets at Tejon, a holiday shopping destination unlike any other. Shop amazing deals during extended hours all month long to find the perfect gifts for everyone on your list. Save up to 65% on over 60 of the top brands in fashion, accessories, and home goods, like Coach Factory Store, Gymboree Outlet, H&M, Pottery Barn Outlet, Nike Factory Store, Michael Kors, Express Factory Outlet, and more. Outlets at Tejon, your must-shop stop for the holidays. Located just 40 minutes north off I-5. For sales and events, join the VIP Club online at TejonOutlets.com or find us on Facebook.
Give and get at the Outlets at Tejon, where every purchase over $50 or more gives you a chance to win a gift from your favorite brands like H&M, Tommy Hilfiger, Coach, Skechers, Nike, Calvin Klein, American Eagle, Samsonite, Carter's, Columbia, Kevin Jewelers, and more. Visit TejonOutlets.com for official rules.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call The Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
Hometown.
They're amazing, and every single one of their songs is amazing, except for like one.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inspirational Parent right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Today we're talking about spending quality time together. And before we went on the break, Dad, you had a question about how the parents can get us as the teens or the young adults to see value in going to family events. And one of the things that I was going to say was, I think that the value really is spent with the people. So I may not be close or like really connected to a certain aunt, but I could be close to 2 or 3 other, cousins or something. And that might be just like the trick to get me there. Like, oh, these people are going to be there. And then maybe while I'm there, I make my way around and start spending time with other people that I normally don't talk to in our family. But sometimes I think like not tricking us, but knowing what it is that interests us or knowing what it is that's going to get us there is the most important part, like us showing up.
Okay. What has you be in resistance to going to a family function? Earlier you mentioned about having all the questions that people are going to ask you there. Is that really annoying to you? I mean, because that's part of the bonding process. That's the part of the catching up, and that's what I'm afraid.
Well, the questions aren't the annoying thing. I mean, Andrew said that he doesn't really run into this as much. That his is more the questions. But for me, I feel like I get judgment like after my answers, or like people really like to push their thing onto me. Like if I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this in school, they're like, oh, don't you think it would be better if you did this? Or I always wanted to do this. You should do that. And I guess I don't really take it as just their words. I take it more as them judging what it is I'm up to and wanting me to do what they think is right. And that's really annoying. That's frustrating to me.
And is it because it's coming from a family member, or I mean, is that annoying just coming from any? If you're at any function, it's annoying
coming from anyone. If someone off the street walked up to me and said, "Oh, hey, kid, what do you do?" and I said what I did, and they were like, "Oh, that's dumb. You should be a doctor." Like, that would annoy me because I'd be like, "Okay, like, I don't know, just." There's something about being young and not knowing what you want to do, and then being on a path or deciding what it is you want to do, and somebody like trying to knock it like it's not good enough. Or especially when us as teenagers, we spend so much time trying to figure out who we are and what we want to do, that when we finally figure it out or we start on that path, someone comes in with their opinion.
So I love that you're sharing this, because I can't wait for you to be a parent and want your kids to be able to connect with us as a family in our functions. And then when you show up as a 30 or 35-year-old and I go, "Where's Tommy and Timmy?" and you go, "They don't want to come." and you're going to be frustrated. I'm going to go, "Why?" And then you're going to have to now think about when you were young, how frustrated you were with feeling like you were being judged or having to deal with 20 questions from everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like now you're going to have to kind of look back and go and think to yourself, like, man, how do I get them to see the value of wanting to plug in and connect and create quality time with people they say they love the most, rather than Tommy being stuck on the video games when you come back, and Jennifer on Facebook or on whatever social media it is at that point. You know what I mean? It's like how you're going to feel how frustrated it is to try to get them to learn some of these skills that are important.
I think a little part of it has to do, too, with my experience of us spending quality time together was not the quality that I wanted or that I liked. So to my aunt, she might think we spent, 20 minutes together talking about my future, but really it was just the most terrible experience, So for her, she could think like, oh yeah, I got really close. I asked her a bunch of questions. Like, I know everything about her now. And to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the worst. So maybe it stems from having a bad experience with family members from one time or 10 times or whatever that makes you not want to come back.
Yeah, I get it. So, what do you think is the quality time that you want to start learning for yourself, such that when you become a parent, you're able to create that kind of environment for your kids? What do you think are some of the takeaways that you're learning in your own family that are just special, that you go, I'm definitely gonna take this and kind of run with it?
I think the whole idea of doing things that you don't want to do, like for someone else, like how you said, people that you say you love, but you really don't choose to spend time with them. I think that's like a really big thing for me. Being young, I'm a millennial, and I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Like if it doesn't interest me, there's no real for me, there's no real reason to be there. But a lot of parents are really old school, where they're like, well, you go because you have to go, or you go out of respect, or you go for X and Y reasons, and it's not really for yourself. And so I can, honestly say that us teenagers and young adults, like, we're, selfish. We want to do the things that we want to do. We don't want to spend time doing things for other people. And I would really like to get away from that and start doing things just for that other person, not just for me.
And a lot of times, I think as parents, when we show up to an event and we don't have our kids with us, maybe we're more concerned about how we're going to look or be perceived by other people because we didn't show up as a family, right? You have this vision of when we show up to a wedding, it's a symbol that we're all showing up together. Or parents can think like, oh my God, I'm going to be perceived as a bad parent because I couldn't get Timmy and Tommy to show up with me.
Well, I can kind of see how the same way I'm being judged by my aunt for the things that I'm doing, you're being judged by her because your kids didn't show up, and now I feel really bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that the parents could be attached to being perceived the wrong way, right, so to speak, because they don't have their kids with them. But it was a great topic. I appreciated opening up the conversation about figuring out how to create quality time with people rather than the quantity of time.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Inspirational Parent. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1 right here on your hometown station, KHTS.